Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Allen, and I'd like to thank the San Mateo Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this event. The title of the event is More Time and Lower Costs. Is it even possible? And we're going to try to show you today one way that that is possible. So give you a little history about myself. I've been in the Chamber for about 2 years now, and I was recently added to the Board of Directors for the Chamber. I'm also the chairperson for BRN2. We meet every Tuesday at noon, and we've been doing it since the lockdown. We've been doing it via Zoom. I'm also the owner of City Publications, a print advertising business, and I'm a managing partner for GrowMar, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm joined today by a friend of mine, Coach Sheeba Varghese, and she's an executive leadership coach, and she's actually the top leadership trainer of the year as voted by the International Association of Top Professionals. And she's going to start us off today. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen and switch to the presentation. And there we go. Take it away, Sheeba.
I don't see the screen.
Did I share it?
I don't think you've shared it yet.
Okay, let's go back.
Yeah.
There it is. That's why I forgot to have.
There we go. But it's not on presentation view.
There we go.
There we go.
I'll move this up here. Go ahead.
All right. So I know we have a limited amount of time today, but more time and lower cost. And what Mark and I, as we're co-facilitating this today, we thought I would bring the portion about time, because especially as we are working remotely right now, many are working remotely, time has been such a precious commodity even more, because there's so much that we are juggling all at one time, depending on if you have children at home, what ages they are, what's required of your business, and or, you know, what you might need to do to adjust the things that are going on in your business. Mark, the next slide. So unfortunately, this is what we often say to ourselves. I just don't have time to do the things that I know I want to do. Mark, are you able to advance the slide? Oh, sorry. I just don't have the time to do the previous slide. Sorry. This is the benefit of co-facilitating. We can mess up together. I just don't have time to do the things that I know I want to do and need to do. But here's the thing. All of us have the same amount of time. So it's not that we don't have time, it's sometimes that we don't have a clear focus or a strategy in place to utilize our time to the best ability as possible, to its full potential. So one of the things that I talk to about with my leaders is, how can we prioritize this time? One of the ways that we do is I bring up what's called the Eisenhower Matrix. This was created by Dwight Eisenhower in a time where there were so many things that were on his schedule, and this is the way that he prioritized his time. In that green box there, it's when you look at your tasks, your projects, what's on your plate right now, what's important and what's urgent, I need to do that first. And in the blue quadrant is what are those things that are important, but it's not so urgent and I need to schedule time to do that. So these are things that are important to the long-term goals, your mission, your value of your business. You still need to schedule time to do this. And sometimes this quadrant is where we work on the least, because we're thinking we'll get to that later. And what I'm finding is that businesses are now having to tighten up those processes to make sure that they handle those things. The fourth one, where it's in red, those are things that are not urgent, it's not important, and we really need to get it off of our list and off of our time because we're wasting time. The quadrant that's in orange is where I want to just focus in on with Mark today, is what's urgent, but it's less important that I do it because I need to delegate these things to others. And when you think of delegating things to others, I want you to consider these three questions. And those questions are, what is something someone else could do better than me? What is something that someone else should be doing? Or what are those things that drain my energy, my time, and my money? Because how much are you worth per hour? right? How much of what are you doing right now that someone else could do it better than you? And probably it should be taken off of your plate right now. And if I go into this a little deeper, there are those things that we just need to say no to, that we need to delegate. And in those things that we need to delegate, perhaps we might need to look at outsourcing it or automating it. So think about that in regards to your business. And these are questions that are important for you to ask yourself every 3 to 6 months, right? What needs to shift and change? So in the chat box, I'd like you to answer the following question. How many hours do you feel you spend on low value business activities? These are activities that do not generate revenue for your business, but still needs to be done. How many hours do you feel? Is it A, B, or C? Let's look at the chat box.
To do that, I'm going to have to.
I can see the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. So is it A, B, or C? What do you think? Do you feel that you spend your time on? C, Pam. Okay, less than 10 hours. Jack, less than 10 hours. Okay, Michelle, A. All right. Great. Pauline, C. A lot of C's here. So according to a Gallup poll that and Wells Fargo, what they found was, Stephanie, thank you, C, found that 57% of small business owners work 6 days a week. And over 20% of them work 7 days a week. I don't know about you, but I really don't want to work 6 days or 7 days a week in my business. And I'm having to really put boundaries around my time so I can honor my time. And it's getting quite blended right now, especially with this shelter in place. So this is even requiring more of my focus to make sure that I am honoring that time. And what they found was they spent 6.8 hours of that per week on low value business activities. That means that we're wasting almost a full workday week on each of these activities. That is not something that's valuable in the long run for our businesses. So what is the value? When we bring focus and have strategy, the value is that we get more of our time back, which is our most precious resource. And costs can actually decrease if we are able to prioritize our time. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mark, who's really going to talk about lowering those costs, which we might think is really weird right now if we're going to delegate or automate with others, but it can be done. So Mark, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sheeba. Great job. So I'm going to continue on this. And how many of you can relate to this picture? And this really goes back to what Sheeba just said about people working 6 and 7 days a week and, you know, wasting almost a full day doing things that I think you can all relate to here, right? So what takes most of the time for a business owner that's stopping them from spending more time on what's really important is sales and customer acquisition. You know, we all have a lot of repetitive tasks that we do every day. We handle customer service calls. We're learning new non-sales skills. How many of us have tried to build our own website and found out it's not as easy as it looks? Or the hassle of hiring and retaining employees. And this, you know, even before COVID, this was a very challenging thing, especially in the Bay Area. It's not as, hiring is not as big now, but it's going to be again. But the retaining employees, how much does that take of your time every week? So the solution is to delegate or automate. And for human tasks, some of the things you can start delegating to someone else is bookkeeping, transcription, customer service, you know, a lot of back office things. For computer related tasks, I would always recommend that you hire a programmer. And I'm a little biased. I worked 40 years in IT. I know the difference between a professional website and one that was done by someone who's learning the skill. But there's lots of other things you can do. You can do Microsoft Office integration. You can do integration with your CRM. You know, a couple examples are Salesforce and Zoho. You could have someone build a website for you with a chatbot, and a chatbot saves a lot of time for a business. So about GrowMar, what we do is we specialize in staffing virtual assistants and technology-related projects. Our mission is to help business owners get more time and save on employee overhead costs using globally available remote workers. And these remote workers are available 24/7 by 365. And one of the interesting things is some business owners prefer that if they do have people doing things virtually, they prefer them to do it at night when they're asleep, when the business owner's asleep, right? And that way it's done when you get in. And other people prefer that it's done, they work at the same time. We accommodate both. You know, we will have you people work any time of day that really suits your business. So we have one customer success story I wanted to share with you, and it's Silas Green, the owner of Sunshine Pro and Accounting. He's also in the chamber. And the main thing with him was he was able to grow and optimize his bookkeeping business using GrowMar. A lot of people don't know, CPAs don't like to do bookkeeping, but they have to offer it as a service. And we helped Silas actually offer more bookkeeping service, and he can use it as, it helps his customers, and it helps him, it actually works as a income stream for him. So there was a recent poll taken a few years ago. What are the most significant challenges to the future growth and survival of your business? And many small business owners replied to this, and 36% of them said the cost of health insurance was one of the things that was a real challenge to the future growth of their business, and also the lack of qualified workers. And 15% said it was the cost of salaries. These are all things that GrowMar can help with. So when we say the solution, delegate or automate, use your revenue earned locally to hire people in places that lower your costs. And one of the things I want to address here is what a lot of people say, especially now, is that, but am I taking a job away from someone in the US? First of all, we hire people in the US. We hire people in the Bay Area, we hire people in other parts of the US, and we hire people globally, whatever is best for you. And what we've learned is that the more you lower your costs, especially a small business, the faster you grow, and you actually can hire more US citizens, because you will grow and prosper. So here are the things that you can delegate or automate, and these are the services that GrowMar offers. Virtual bookkeepers and accountants. We actually even have virtual CFOs. Customer service and support agents. A lot of customer service work is emails, and that can be done in different parts of the country and the world. Administrative assistance, IT support and services. IT support, an example of that would be people that keep your Windows machines up to date with the latest patches and things like that. Website, mobile apps, and customer service, and you can even do your digital marketing through virtual assistants.
No way.
So remember, the goal is to free your time so you can concentrate on bigger and better things like growing the business. So here's some guidelines, and here's what when I talk to small business owners, here's what I always tell them. Start with a virtual assistant, either local or global, whatever you're more comfortable with. This will start you on the path to more free time. And start by delegating the non-critical tasks at first. Get a working relationship with that person, and start to feel comfortable with each other. Start to feel that you can actually delegate these things. For non-VA work, generally automate. You need to find a partner who you can trust, who has your best interests at heart. And they must have multiple skill sets, especially IT. I was in IT for 40 years. And if a company out there offers, they build WordPress websites, and you tell them you need a website, odds are they're going to build you a WordPress website. But that might not be what's best for you. You might need ThriveHive as an example, or you might need Spotify. But someone needs to know that. They need to know what is best for your particular company. And have a person in your company responsible for communication with the lead person. If you're a small company, that's going to be you. If you're starting to grow, you're in 10 to 20 people, have one person that's responsible for talking to the local team. Establish regular meetings with that person. I've managed remote teams, and it's really critical that you have regular meetings with them and establish concrete deliverables. An example would be new website changes in QA by next Friday. So principle number one, and this is right out of the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Refine rules and processes before adding people. Using people to leverage a refined process multiplies production. Using people as a solution to a poor process multiplies problems. And really what this is saying is, when you have a remote team or remote workers, it really forces you to put discipline into the business and really streamline the processes so that you're not just throwing bodies at it, right? This is true for all businesses, but it's especially true for when you have remote teams. you need to decide when to automate versus delegate, right? I've known a lot of software developers, and they've never met a process they didn't want to automate. But sometimes it's actually cheaper to delegate something than to automate it. Sometimes the cost of automation can be quite expensive. And the other thing you can do is increase your leadership skills as you grow. So that takes us back to Sheeba, who is more than qualified to help you with your leadership skills. And what I would say is, as you increase your leadership skills, and definitely one leadership skill is managing remote teams, you actually grow as a person and you grow your business exponentially. So that is the end of our presentation. Do we have any questions? I see. Okay, well, I'd like to thank you all for your time today and have a great rest of the day.
Can I just say one thing, Mark?
Sure.
Thank you so much. And I would like to maybe delve into this topic again. I was talking to Pauline earlier this morning, and, you know, we want to get more people on the calls, and oftentimes that's a matter of timing and, you know, just getting the information out. So I hope you two will consider, you know, maybe in, you know, next month that we can cover this again, because I really think it's valuable, and I'd like to delve into the leadership part of it more, and I bet you can come up with some really good examples, Mark, of how to even more that we could, you know, delegate. I like the delegate thing. I have a problem with that personally sometimes. You know, it's like I take on everything myself, and then I find really it's a time waster, a total time waster for me, because I'm, you know, doing things that I, you know Pauline's better at. And so thanks again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, yeah, this is Pauline. Thanks, Cheryl. Mark, can I introduce the items for next week?
Sure.
Okay, we actually have 3 business essentials scheduled for next week. Our first one is on April 21st, and that's Gary McKenzie. He's actually online. And his topic will be boost your verbal communication and your future. And then on the 22nd of April, we have what's the bridge between now and the CARES Act relief, and that's by Will Shaw. And on the 23rd, we have volatility creates opportunity, and that's by Amy Cook, also a San Mateo board member, financial advisor. So we have a lot of interesting topics coming up, so I hope you all join in. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 10 a.m. Yes.
Can you mention Rakuten?
Oh, okay. And the following week, we have on Tuesday and Thursday, we have a 10 o'clock business essential, but on Wednesday, the 29th of April, we're sponsoring a town hall meeting with Rakuten. So they are introducing a brand new app where they'll reach out to the local restaurants. You can pick from the restaurants. And then if anybody's familiar with Rakuten, the cashback app that's online currently, they're providing 20% cash back on your orders from these restaurants, and helping the restaurants deploy a new app. So San Mateo is the launch location for this. So we're very excited to be partnering with them and announcing it at our town hall on April 29th. Anyone else have questions, comments?
I wanted to thank both of our presenters today. I think one of the things that has become really apparent for a lot of people out there, business owners, and then also people who were not used to working from home, is how easy it is to get distracted and lack focus when you're trying to get work done. Especially when all of a sudden you find yourself in a new environment and you're trying to learn skills. And that's really difficult to do when you're doing it by yourself. So like Mark was saying, it's really important to figure out what you need to delegate and try to learn that as soon as possible so that you can become more productive. And then to Sheba's point, you know, supervising people is never easy to do. And you have to be able to trust the people that you work with so that, you know, you trust them to do their job. And then once that trust is built, I think that you have happier employees. I really mean that, because I have an awesome boss that has never been like those micromanagers. And one of the reasons why I have been working there as long as I have is because he is that good.
Maria and Cheryl, to your point, one of the things that I see with leaders is the struggle to delegate in the first place. And often that has to do with a mindset of, a lot of different beliefs that they have around the delegation, whether it's going to get done as well as they do it. How about if the ball drops, the ball stops with me, all of these things come into place when we don't delegate. And yet what happens over time is that leaders are not able to sustain and they get burnt out. And so it's not only the why we don't delegate, but then the strategy to delegate. So both of those come hand in hand when I'm working with leaders. But this, especially with remote working, it's really important at this time how to do this effectively. So Cheryl, thank you for your thoughts on that, because it's an important topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's almost like, when we have people to come and clean our homes, we do the cleaning the day before.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what this forces us to do.
Yeah. I think that is what the key point is managing your employees from afar. And, you give them tasks, and then, they're, you have to follow up and then follow up. And it's like, gosh, I am spending so much time just, kind of checking on them to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And anyway, yes. I would, I think that's a hot topic, but I think we need to research it further.
I highly agree with that. I mean, that's why I say you should have one person as the point of contact. I've actually managed teams in India, England, and Australia, and there's some challenges there with the time differences. But after a while, you do learn how to do it effectively.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd known Sheeba at the time when I was doing that. That was a few years back.
It's one thing when you could go to the next office and just tell them what to do, or say, hey, do you have this? It's another thing when it's fully remote, and then in different time zones, and also the cultures. So this is a time where people are having to say, okay, how do I get organized? And Michelle, you brought up a great point. That's not cleaning, it's straightening up. So in the leadership mind or in the business, how do I get organized so I can then delegate effectively?
Yes. Yeah. So as long as there's no more questions, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and have a great day.
Thank you
so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.